I just listed this CD this morning on Monday, December 11th, 2023. Too Hot to Handle, the Gospel Messiah, at around 7:30, 7:40 a.m. As of right now, it is 8:50 a.m. and this already sold. I got an offer for $25. I had it listed for $29.99 plus shipping. I took the offer. It sold basically within about an hour and 15 minutes of listing it. Now, if you had, let's say, 40 items that you picked up recently, wherever it is, however you source them, it doesn't matter. Let's say you picked them up at the thrift store, and a bunch of CDs, some books, some DVDs, etc. 40 in total. You brought them home or to wherever you list them. Now you're ready to photograph them and then list them. So let's say you take an hour to photograph them, and then let's say it would take you 2.5 hours to list them. Once you photographed them, once you've listed them, would you just put them in as a draft, or would you actually have all 40 go live the same day? Essentially, would you save some of them to list them the next couple of days? Let's say you had a goal of 10, at least listing 10 a day. Would you save those other 30? So let's say you would photograph and then create all of the listings, and then the first 10 you would launch, have them go live. And then the other 30 out of the 40, would you just have them sit in your drafts or schedule them out, whichever one, for the next couple of days? Or would you just say, you know what, all 40 are going to go live? What would you do? So what I did for a little while, this is about, it's been months now, I would say about 3 months ago or so, what I was doing is, as I would get a bunch of items to list, let's say I had more than my daily goal. So initially I had a daily goal of 10, and then as I got through a ton of items that was essentially in a death pile, with the help of someone else helping me list, I got down to the point to where I didn't have very many new items to list. I had to constantly try to find new ones. So then it kind of dropped down to 5 a day and then 3 a day. So what I would do is, if I had 20 and I had trying to do 5 a day, I would spread them out. I would do 5 today, go live, and the other 15 would spread out over the next 3 days. Because I thought, oh, it's better that my eBay account is active instead of just having it go, putting all of them in one day, right? Or having them all go live in one day. And then as it became harder and harder to do that, because I have so much other stuff, I have to list on Amazon occasionally. I also have to prepare for the sale. I have to go through a bunch of new stuff I get, whether it's donations or trades or buys, and can you continue to go through those big gaylords of CDs, all that stuff. I'm trying to find more and more stuff to list online, of course, but also sell it locally in my store. So anyway, I wasn't able to build up or even have that many, enough where I could get 10, forget about 10 a day. I sometimes couldn't do 5 a day, but sometimes I would get a chunk of them, 10 or 15 or 20, and then I would wonder what I should do. Should I have them all go live or not? And so I decided, I put a video out a little while ago. This was months ago, several months ago, asking that question. Does it make more sense to go live right away with your listings, or to draft them out, schedule them out, so you always have at least a certain amount each day? And so the feedback I got was, it doesn't matter. And that's what I realized. What I mean by that is, so if I would have, as an example, if this was one of them, if I had held on to it till tomorrow or the next day to list it, and a bunch of others have to go live, it might not have sold right away. Or it might have, but regardless, it sold immediately, essentially, when I listed it. There's no other copies on there. That's why I listed it on eBay, by the way, is because I couldn't find it on Amazon or eBay. It's still sealed. Excuse me, a double CD set. It looks kind of interesting. The fact that I couldn't find it anywhere said to me that it's pretty rare, and there might be somebody out there who's interested in it. And I was thinking of it as more of a long tail. Turns out there was somebody immediately looking for it, and I sold it. Now, if I had waited days, that person may have not been looking on eBay at that moment, or they might have bought it anyway, but it would have taken a little bit longer to sell. So my point is, when you have items sitting in your drafts or scheduled, they're not live and people cannot see them. Buyers cannot see them. Potential buyers cannot see them. And so you will not get any views. You will not get any sales off those items. You won't get any offers, people out making offers. So less sales. So the one argument about this is, well, I like to draft out or schedule out my items so that I make sure that I stay busy. It keeps me accountable to list X amount per day. But is it better to list 10 a day if you have 50 in one day and you can photograph and get all of the listings ready? Or is it better just to list all 50 in that one day? Instead of the other 40 taking 4 more days to go live. To me, because I haven't seen any difference, I was going to say is, to me, it makes more sense to have them all go live. And that's bearing out in my experience here in the last few months, is 50 opportunities to sell something versus waiting 4 days to have 50 opportunities to sell something on eBay. Just to say accountable, or just to say to yourself, oh, I'm listing X amount each day. Whereas you could list all of them in one day, sell some of them immediately, I'm sure, if you're listing the right kind of stuff, versus having those sales trickle in over 5 days, total of 5 days, listing 50 items, having 50 items go live on eBay. So I'm curious what you think about it. I'm sure a lot of older eBay sellers will agree with me and say it doesn't matter when you, how often you list, it's what you're listing. So it's the items you're listing, the photographs you're taking, i.e., are they good photographs? And you can even sell stuff with crappy photographs. I've seen it all the time. But the better photographs, the more likely, and the prices that you're setting them, and are you taking offers? If you're the only option like this one, like if I didn't take offers on this, the person probably would have bought it anyway, just because there's no other offer. But I take offers regardless, because I'm totally fine selling this for $25 plus shipping, because I pulled it out of the Gaylord. It's one of the thousands and thousands of CDs in there that was passed on by an Amazon FBA only seller, and I'm selling lots of these items on eBay, as well as many of them in eBay lots, but also in my store. So I'm happy to. I lost my train of thought, but I'm happy to sell these, list these on eBay. So to me, it makes no sense to say, oh, I've got all these books I need to list today, this whole row. I definitely, within the time that I have allotted to work today on this, on my eBay business, I can photograph all of these, 50 books, let's say, create listings for them, and have them go live. I can do that in one day, no problem. Or I could just photograph them all, put them in listings, but only 10 of them go live, and 40 of them sit there overnight, and the next day another 10, and the next day another 10, and the next day another 10. Does that make any sense? So to me, it makes no sense to do that, because no one can see your listings when they're just sitting as a draft or sitting as a scheduled listing to go live in the future. I used to get excited about, oh look, I've scheduled out 50 items over the next 5 days, so I feel, oh good, I don't have to worry about the next 4 days, 4 or 5 days, having items to list. Whereas I could just list them all, even if I don't list anything in the next 5 days, then I still have all those live that went live, right? So this, as an example, I wasn't able to get around to it until this morning, and I hadn't listed anything. Yesterday I listed a few items on eBay. This morning I listed the last 2 I had. And before that, I hadn't listed anything on eBay in a couple of days. This last week, I haven't listed a ton. But guess what? I keep selling. Why? Well, because I have items for sale that are priced right, that have good photos, that are items that people want to buy. And so that's more important than listing every single day. You should have a habit of listing every day, but don't beat yourself up if you don't have enough items to list every day. If you say, I'm listing 10 a day, averaged out, great. But if you go to the thrift store for one day and you find 50 items, and then you can, in the morning, and then you say, I have the whole rest of the day, got nothing else going on, I'm going to dedicate 5 hours or whatever it would take you to list all of those other 50 items, the brand new ones, then list them and have them go live. And then the next day, if you can't go to the thrift store, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect your eBay business, even if you can't hit your goal. It's more important to have items go live than to hit your daily listing goal. Because are you trying to just hit a listing goal, or are you trying to sell something? So these guys that I see on or hear about or watch on YouTube or anywhere else, what do you call it? That say, oh, I have to hit my goal no matter what, so I'm not going to have all these other items. I've seen people go live, right? So I have seen people that have like 100, 200 drafts or scheduled listings. And imagine if they had, let's say they had 100, 200, let's say, and instead of waiting over the next many weeks, excuse me, to make sure you have your 10 or 20 day go live, you would list all of those. And if they're quality items that people want, priced right, with good photos, all the information, good titles, all that stuff, guess what? You're going to sell a ton of those right away. Who cares if you don't list anything for the next 3 days? Because you'll be busy selling off all of those and shipping them. And then, of course, buying new stuff. So anyway, tell me what you guys think, but this is where I am with this, listing, holding on to your listings versus having everything go live. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next video. Take care.